One thing about spirituality is that there is the concept of the ego and the self. In other words, the good side, the desire to do good, and the desire to do bad within the soul. So the ego is the desire to do bad within the good soul. And though the message is the same, sometimes people term it as we need to lose something. We need to distance ourselves from our ego. We need to kill the ego, even put the ego to death, or to put, to lose the self, to merge with reality. Now, I understand what is being said here. It's basically being said that a person is ditching their pain, their evils, their injustices, and their suffering. They're basically, and their bad intentions. They're killing off, you could say, so to speak, or putting some distance between themselves and that part of them. But I think that that's not even the right wording. I don't think it's the right wording to say that you're going to lose the self, you're going to transcend your own soul. I think that what it's saying is that, I think the real way to say it is that the more you do good, the more you perfect yourself and pay for your injustices and come into and purify yourself and achieve spiritual excellence. I think that is coming into your true self. I think it's when we are in sin a lot and have done a lot of bad and in a poor state of spiritual perfection and righteousness and excellence. I think when we're in a poor state, when we're evil spiritually, I think then we are distanced from the self. That's when we're not, that's when we've kind of outside looking in on the self. But I think that we come into ourself when we are good. We become more of what we really are as a soul, as this eternal changing force of reality. So that's my little message here, that we come into ourselves the more we purify ourselves and become spiritually excellent. We become more of ourselves. We take ownership and responsibility over what we are, which is the soul. It's like the soul is a field of consciousness, and the more perfect you are spiritually, the more you own those pieces of yourself, while sinning and doing evil and stuff like that and being unrighteous. That kind of, to me, deadens parts of the soul. That sort of puts distance between the soul and all of itself. Pieces of itself die off, so to speak, or go idle. So I think being righteous and going towards goodness and doing good deeds and not doing bad deeds and purifying and attaining spiritual excellence gradually, that is becoming more of yourself, not distancing yourself or transcending yourself. You're becoming more of yourself when you do this. You're becoming closer and more completely all of yourself, which is the soul. And I think that the more closer somebody is to themselves, the more complete they are, the less pieces of their soul are deadened, the more alive they are spiritually, the more in themselves they are, the more closer to righteousness you are, and the more closer to spiritual excellence that you are, you will feel it. You won't feel like, okay, something is a little bit off, or there's some distance between me and the where I should be. There is not going to be that, because you can feel that way only when your soul is damaged and in sin and stuff like that. So as we go towards spiritual excellence, it's definitely something that you can feel. It's feelable, that you will heal yourself, you'll resurrect those parts of you, you'll feel more complete and more alive and more holy even, and you will feel just much, you won't feel as much sadness, as much anxiety, because you'll feel like there's no distance between you and yourself. You're not broken. There's not anything off. You're not confused. There's no anxiety. It's just because you're actually going to be, when you're going towards spiritual excellence, you're going towards yourself, coming into yourself, I should say. You're going towards God and divinity and righteousness, but as you become more spiritually excellent, you come into yourself more. You you become more complete. And this, obviously, like I said, has positive, practical benefits of how you feel.